Let's talk about infrared light. Let's talk about things a little outside of sunlight alone, but also in the realm of things that people expose themselves to. I mean, there's a big push for infrared saunas. Are you a fan of infrared saunas? I know I've seen you talk about steam rooms and the traditional saunas. Can you talk about what's your preference out of those types of options?
I would say, I mean, a lot of the research that has developed over the past 30, 40, however many decades is focused on dry saunas.
Mm.
I'm a big fan of infrared saunas. I mean, you have people who are worried about the non-native EMF from the sauna. I don't think it's too much of a big deal if you control for other factors as well in your lifestyle. But infrared, I'm a huge fan of. I think going back to the idea that people spend 93% of their time indoors, we are starved as a species for infrared light, near infrared light, far infrared, the whole spectrum. And so the more of it we can get, the better our mitochondrial health, which I believe is the foundation of all chronic disease. Um, the better just overall mood is, everything will flow as a result of getting more infrared light.
And I think you could also say, because I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this are not in Southern California like you are, and in a place like New York where it's raining right now and it's kind of miserable, that just don't have the ability to be outdoors or even see it, or in cold conditions on a higher latitude. So what beyond the infrared sauna, what would be your recommendation for people that just are not able to get that much sunlight because of where they live?
I would say dimming any sources of artificial light indoors. I would say opening windows, especially in the morning, because you still have more of a full light spectrum, even if it's really cloudy. I mean, if it's
Sure.
raining and you go outside, it's still pretty bright out. And I think people intuitively understand that. So you're still getting a lot of benefit on that end. I would say utilizing cold thermogenesis is extremely powerful. That's something I've been diving into lately from an experiential perspective. Ice baths have been phenomenal for me. And also considering this, when you think about darkness and winter and higher latitude, if you are evolutionarily adapted to that sort of environment, there are systems in place for you to gain a lot of benefits. So, you have melatonin that's fundamentally tied to the vitamin D receptor. So if you have more darkness, you stimulate melatonin that's able to tap into the vitamin D receptor, which liberates vitamin D3 from your stored amounts in there. And then I think, just making sure to go with the seasons is important. If
Yeah.
you are cyclical and seasonal creatures. So, spring, summer, winter, just go through the whole process and do different things depending on the time of season.
You bring up the I know cold plunging and cold immersion. A lot of people that are maybe listening, and even patients that we have here at our medical center, are dealing with a lot of different things, right? They're not in a health optimized state yet. Do you find that those types of people should stay away from the sun as well as the colds because it's too much of a stressor on their immune systems, or is that something that you can still expose yourself to?
I'd say there's more nuance around the cold,
Yeah.
especially if you're talking about getting into an ice bath. I think it just depends on the individual use case. With the sun, I think everybody should be out in the sun,
Yeah.
assuming that they have a proper framework. And if I were to say one thing on the sunlight end, it would be to get more of that morning sunlight on
Mm.
most of your skin. No contacts, no sunglasses. That is going to set the stage for all these other things. And then when you do decide to sunbathe during the midday, you're actually resilient. You have a solar callus to then lean on to gain all of the benefits of melanin, vitamin D3, so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the major thesis is like get outside in the morning, get that sunlight in the morning. Even if you can't get outside, like just in the window, right? Just through open the window and get that on your eyeballs, correct?
Yeah. Open the windows. That is such an important point because, again, the same concept as sunglasses, contacts, sunscreen, windows, conventional glass artificially manipulates the full light spectrum. I think it blocks all of the UVB. It leaves UVA untouched. It leaves blue light untouched, and it blocks 30 to 60% of the red light spectrum. So you basically have, when you get sunlight through a glass window, you're basically getting a double dose of UVA and blue light in
Mm.
one go, which is the most damaging combination.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's such a shame that we live most of our time indoors and the only sunlight we're getting is through glass, right? And giving us that double. So we're indoors. We already got these like shitty lights coming on us. We got the EMFs going. We're probably in a place, if it's more modernized, like an office, many of them are sealed up, meaning the VOCs, all the kind of different types of toxins that are in all the building material are sitting there. You're in air conditioned, usually kind of, term no fresh air. All of those are just a recipe for disease, right?
And we wonder why chronic disease rates are surging. I mean, everything
Surging.
from autoimmune disease to cancer to heart disease, like
Yeah.
every single thing that we are seeing, I think, is a direct result of that environment because we are an organism that evolved in a very specific and tightly organized environment by Mother Nature. We were designed to be outside most of the time. We were designed to sense natural EMF, not non-native EMF.
Yep.
And so all of these things, really just they do a number on the human species, and it's unfortunate, man.
It's really unfortunate, and it's even more unfortunate that we had a pandemic that was a lockdown, right? And people were scared of going outside and, mad, no fresh air. Like it's all been this downward spiral. And of course, you can understand if you look at it from that prism why most of us are sick or at least dealing with some health issues, trying to normalize it, right? Whether it's like just poor energy, poor sleep, trying to say that's just part of aging when it's completely not. And we're just transforming, our understanding of even what health is and kind of giving us excuses to be unhealthy that it's just part of aging. You're going to have a chronic disease, and here's a pill. Here's another pill when you get worse and worse. And it's really sad. And I do think listening to people such as yourself and just building awareness around it is the answer to at least start to reverse all of this.